Good afternoon. If I could call your attention to the stage, we'll go ahead and begin our program. My name is Matt Coleman. I have the privilege of serving as the Vice Chair of the Regional Business Alliance and introducing today's program. This time I'd like to recognize a number of special individuals and groups of people who are with us, beginning with our elected officials. We have many officials with us today, and I'd ask as I introduce your name if you would please stand and remain standing, and after all our officials have been introduced, we'll appropriately recognize them. Secretary of State Wayne Williams, Colorado State Senator Owen Hill, Colorado State Representative Terry Carver, Colorado State Representative Pete Lee, Chair of the Board of El Paso County Commissioners Amy Lathan, Vice Chair Dennis Heisey, Commissioners Darrell Glenn and Peggy Littleton, 4th Judicial District Attorney Dan May, El Paso County Clerk and Recorder Chuck Browerman, El Paso County Sheriff Bill Elder. The gentleman I'll introduce more completely in a few moments, standing over in the corner, Mayor John Suthers. President of Council Merv Bennett, President Pro Tem Jill Gabler, City Council members Larry Bagley, Don Knight, Bill Murray, and Andy Pico. Board of Education, Colorado Springs School District, Linda Mosier and Nora Brown. From the office of U.S. Senator Michael Bennett, Annie Oatman Gardner. From the office of U.S. Senator Cory Gardner, Brandon Gould. From the office of U.S. Representative Doug Lamborn, Jared Rigo. Please help me thank these people for their service. Thank you. I'd like to ask two groups of people to stand, the Board of Directors of the Regional Business Alliance and our Board of Governors. Please stand. I'd like to point out these individuals, as a member of the Board of Governors, individually invest at least $10,000 a year to the benefit of the organization and give countless hours to our benefit as a community. Thank you for all that you do for us. Within the RBA, certainly the most important people are our staff, and I'd like at this time to again ask our relatively new President and CEO, Dirk Draper, and the staff of the Business Alliance, please stand so that we can thank you. We're also very grateful for today's sponsors, which you saw recognized, Kaiser Permanente, Comcast, and our print media sponsor, the Gazette. Mayor John Suthers was elected as the 41st mayor of Colorado Springs, overwhelmingly on May 19th, assuming that responsibility on June 2nd. Today marks his 100th day in office. John came well prepared for the job, having decades of experience in management, government, and the law. Most of you may be aware, but he has served as the Attorney General of Colorado, the U.S. Attorney for Colorado, the Executive Director for the Colorado Department of Corrections, and the District Attorney of the 4th Judicial District. He also practiced law in Colorado Springs for 10 years. A lifelong resident of Colorado Springs, John is married to Janet Suthers, who also grew up in Colorado Springs, and after a career at Hewlett-Packard and Agilent, has been very active as a community volunteer. I think we'd be hard-pressed, indeed, to find an individual, but I'm going to say a couple, more prepared to offer leadership to our city. On a personal note, as I've had the privilege of introducing John at several public forums, I usually make some smart quip about his heritage, courtesy of the University of Notre Dame. Given his newfound authority in present office, I'll simply say, Mayor, welcome.
Thank you very much. "144 years ago, on July 31st, 1871, a stake was driven into the ground at the southeast corner of Cascade and Pikes Peak Avenues, and the city of Colorado Springs was born. 100 days ago, I was entrusted with the honor, privilege, and responsibility of serving as the 41st mayor of that city, which has grown to become the 41st largest city in America. Today, I'm here to report to the citizens of Colorado Springs on the state of our city. I'll start with my conclusion. The state of our city is good. The potential of our city is great. In many respects, the city I grew up in has remained the same. It's still the kind of city our founder, General William Palmer, envisioned. We're a city of remarkable natural beauty, a city with an outstanding system of parks and trails, and a city that attracts many tourists to see our sights and enjoy our healthy climate. I believe that General Palmer would be pleased to know that we still see ourselves as vibrant, rugged, and exceptional, and that the city once known as Little London has become America's Olympic city. But in other respects, Colorado Springs is much different than when I grew up here. When I was a boy, the soon-to-be paved Circle Drive was on the eastern border of the city. Today, it's in the western half of the city. The city has grown over 1,000% in my lifetime. There were about 40,000 people in Colorado Springs when I was born. Today, there are more than 40,000 college students in Colorado Springs. In my campaign for mayor, I identified 3 priorities that I would pursue if elected. First, to improve the political climate in the city, to restore a collaborative relationship between the mayor and the city council, and between Colorado Springs and other governmental entities in the Pikes Peak region. Secondly, to begin to invest in the city's critical public infrastructure, particularly roads and stormwater systems. To do so is not only necessary for public health, safety, and welfare, but also for our future economic development. Finally, I promise to aggressively promote new job creation. Quite simply, these priorities were a reflection of the difficult issues Colorado Springs has faced over the last 2 decades. Let me elaborate. Well, Colorado Springs has continued to gain population since the 2000 census, growing by almost 100,000 people. The economy has not grown proportionately. Private sector job growth has been relatively flat, as has been wage growth in the region. There's no real mystery here. During the last 20 years, Colorado Springs has lost a lot of high-tech manufacturing jobs, which went overseas or ceased to exist. Much of the job growth that did occur was in lower-paying jobs. Today, the Colorado Springs economy is about 50% dependent on the United States government, 33% on direct government payroll, and 17% on government-related contracting. The underperforming local economy and downturns in the national economy have had consequences for the delivery of services by Colorado Springs city government. The city faced a significant downturn in revenue after 9/11 and a very large downturn in the Great Recession beginning in 2008. In the year 2000, the city of Colorado Springs had 1,842 general fund employees. Today, despite the fact the city has grown by almost 100,000 people, the city has 135 fewer employees. That means in 2000, the city had 5.1 employees per 1,000 residents. Today, it has 3.8 employees per 1,000 residents. Today, on a per capita inflation-adjusted basis, the city general fund is less than it was in the year 2000. In 2000, we spent $422 per resident. Today, we spend $336 per resident. This reflects good stewardship of taxpayer dollars. But there is one area of essential city services that has suffered disproportionately. By far, the most dramatic impact from the economic adversity has been on public works. When revenues plunged, it was a lot easier for the city to stop maintaining roads and stormwater systems than it was to lay off police and firefighters. In 2001, police and fire were 47% of the general fund budget. Today, they are 51%. In 2001, Public Works was 18% of the general fund budget. Today, it is 11%. And the fact is that over this period of time, the cost of public works projects, including road construction and maintenance, has far outstripped inflation. As a result, while the state of our city is good, the state of our roads is poor. Today, we find over 60% of our roads are beyond the normal 10-year resurfacing cycle and in a state of rapid deterioration. 53% of our roads need an overlay. 8% of our roads need to be reconstructed. A recent national study indicates that Colorado Springs has the 26th worst roads in America, and that the average driver in Colorado Springs pays $723 per year because of the poor condition of the roads, far above the national average. For almost a decade, virtually the only funds Colorado Springs has consistently spent on road maintenance and repairs is its proportionate share of Pikes Peak Rural Transportation Authority maintenance dollars and a share of federal and state gas tax dollars. This year, that amounts to about $18.5 million. Unfortunately, that only resurfaces less than 2% of the 5,600 lane miles in the city per year. By the way, PPRTA dollars are being well spent on exactly the things promised. The 55% share of PPRTA funds that goes to capital projects is paying the local share of much-needed major projects like interchanges at Academy and Woodman, Austin Bluffs and Union, Fillmore and I-25, Cimarron and I-25, and other major projects such as the Woodman Road widening, the Mark Shuffle realignment, and West Colorado Avenue between Colorado Springs and Manitou Springs. 10% of PPRTA funds go to support the Mountain Metro transit system. So that's the background on the priorities I've set. Now let me report on our progress in addressing them. I am very pleased to report that the relationship between the mayor's office and the city council has improved dramatically, and that we are communicating well and working collaboratively in the best interests of the city. We won't always agree on everything, but our working relationship will be respectful and collaborative. And I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to the members of the City Council, most of whom are here today. Merv Bennett, Council President, Jill Gabler, Council Pro Tem, Council Members Keith King, Don Knight, Andy Pico, Helen Collins, Larry Bagley, Tom Strand, and Bill Murray. Would the council members please stand so we can acknowledge your good work? As to infrastructure, the council and I have heard our citizens loud and clear, In every poll or survey we've conducted, and every town hall we've attended, the citizens have told us they want to fix the roads, and we're going to give them an opportunity to do so. The November 3rd ballot will contain a referendum asking Colorado Springs voters to approve a 0.62 sales tax increase for 5 years. That would raise approximately $50 million per year, or $250 million over 5 years, to be used only for road maintenance and repairs. While we might need to spend that amount for 10 years to get our roads to where they need to be, this will allow voters to assess our progress and decide whether to extend the tax. By a 69% to 14% margin, voters prefer a sales tax increase to a property tax increase as a means of funding road repairs. This stems from the fact that 38% of sales tax is paid by non-residents of the city, including tourists, and that it is non-regressive consumption tax. He who buys more pays more, but utilities, groceries, and prescription medications are exempt. A poll indicates residents also like the fact that the money would be used solely for roads, and that all work would be done by the private sector. Not a single new city employee will be hired to do the work. The city auditor will help ensure all funds currently spent on road maintenance continue to be spent on road maintenance. The sales tax would cost the average household in Colorado Springs about $100 per year. The Council has also agreed to place on the November ballot a question concerning retention of revenue received by the city in 2014 that exceeded the amount allowed under the Taxpayer Bill of Rights by $2.1 million. That excess resulted from the fact that the city received state grants in 2014 for flood and fire disasters that had to be counted as revenue under the Tabor calculation. Our poll indicated the vast majority of voters want the city to retain the $2.1 million and apply it to repair of park trails throughout the city that have been damaged over the last several years. These ballot initiatives are critical to our city's future. It is clear that dealing with our deteriorating roads is absolutely vital to the quality of life of our citizens and to our success in economic development in coming years. Well, what about stormwater infrastructure? Doesn't that need to be addressed? Yes, it does, and the City Council and I have a plan to do so. Understanding that plan requires some historical background. As recently as the late 1960s, our neighbor to the south, Pueblo, was larger than Colorado Springs. Since then, Colorado Springs has grown to be about 4 times the size of Pueblo, and that means considerably more impervious surfaces contributing to stormwater flow into Fountain Creek, with impacts on Pueblo. Mindful of this reality, and in response to specific flooding incidents, the Colorado Springs Mayor and City Council set up a stormwater enterprise. Each property owner was assessed a fee based on their impervious surface, and approximately $15 million per year was raised to be applied to stormwater mitigation projects. However, in 2009, the voters of Colorado Springs expressed their displeasure with the stormwater fee, and in 2010, the City Council voted 5-4 to defund the stormwater enterprise. In the meantime, in 2008 and 2009, Colorado Springs Utilities negotiated with Pueblo County to receive what is called a 1041 permit to construct the Southern Delivery Project, a massive water delivery project that pipes water from Pueblo Reservoir to Colorado Springs and will supply our city's water needs for the next 40 to 50 years. Pueblo contends that in issuing the permit, they were relying on the fact Colorado Springs would continue funding a stormwater enterprise and is considering a lawsuit to revoke or amend the permit. I and members of the City Council, which also serves as the utility board, have been negotiating with Pueblo, along with the Colorado Springs utilities, in an attempt to resolve this matter. We would like to avoid litigation that would delay the Southern delivery system from going online in 2016. The Council and I propose to essentially reconstruct a stormwater fund and commit to funding at least $19 million per year for 10 years to essential stormwater projects. Where would the $19 million come from? $8 million would come from the maturing of capital improvement bonds issued 20 years ago. The city borrowed $100 million for infrastructure projects 20 years ago and has been paying $8 million per year in annual payments. That money will be freed up to apply to stormwater. $5 million will be available in 2016 and the remaining $3 million in 2017. Another $3 million would come from utilities. That's basically their annual stormwater expenditures to protect their infrastructure. Another $3 million represents the amount the city has essentially been spending each year on stormwater to comply with water quality regulations. That leaves $5 million, and I'm proposing to the Council that we reduce or freeze the funding of other areas of the budget, including elimination of wage or salary increases, in order to be able to fund that amount in 2016. While Pikes Peak area voters declined to pass a stormwater proposal in November 2014, this is a very complex problem that is not going away and needs to be addressed. And I emphasize that this is a public safety issue for the citizens of Colorado Springs, as well as those of Pueblo. Again, I applaud the Council for helping to find a solution. The City Council and I are also developing a 2016 budget at the present time. Because of increased sales tax revenue, the total general fund budget will increase by about 3.5%. But as indicated, virtually all of that, $8 million this year, will go to create the stormwater fund I described. I'm also proposing to increase the city's general fund commitment to transit from $4 million to $5 million, bringing us closer to the $5.7 million maintenance of effort commitment the city made in 2004 when the Pikes Peak Rural Transportation Authority was created. We are also committed to funding architectural plans for a new Sand Creek Police Station and to ensuring the police department implements body cameras for all its officers as soon as possible. And finally, to funding over a 2-year period the first comprehensive plan for the city in 15 years. As to my third priority of promoting new job creation in our region, I am growing increasingly optimistic. We are experiencing improvement in many of the indicia of economic growth. The city's unemployment rate has dropped from 9.6% to 4.9% since 2010. The Southern Colorado Economic Forum is projecting an increase of over 6,000 jobs in El Paso County in 2015. New home sales have increased, and the median sale price of a home increased 5.8% last year. Lodging and rental car tax revenue is up 14.2% over last year. Trips up Pikes Peak are up 21% over last year. These are signs of a growing tourism business. But I am most pleased by the prospect of local employers expanding in the near future and our capability to attract new companies to the region. Based on conversations with large national companies with a presence in Colorado Springs, I am confident we will report on several significant expansions in the next year or two. Small and mid-sized companies are also growing. aerospace, medical innovation, cybersecurity, and many more areas show excellent prospects. Colorado Springs was once known as Silicon Mountain, but technologies change and business landscapes change. Given the synergy in the cybersecurity arena between the military, the private sector, and the University of Colorado at Colorado Springs, I firmly believe Colorado Springs has the capability to earn a claim as the cybersecurity capital of the world. Speaking of UCCS, under the innovative leadership of Chancellor Pam Shockley-Zalabek, the university continues to grow as an economic force in Colorado Springs. It's responsible for 6,200 jobs and a payroll of $300 million. Given what's transpiring on the North Nevada corridor, including a performing arts center, a sports medicine program, and a branch of CU Medical School, it's not unrealistic to believe that by 2020, the university's annual economic impact on the city will approach $1 billion. There is still more good news. Our airport's commercial aeronautical zone is showing significant success in attracting new companies and new jobs to Colorado Springs. Other companies will join Sierra Nevada and Sierra Completions in locating in the commercial aeronautics zone. We have every reason to believe that will lead to expansion of commercial aviation activity at the airport. The downtown area of Colorado Springs is also showing increased commercial activity. Thanks to companies like the O'Neill Group, the prospects are bright for significant job creation and an increased residential population in the downtown area. Thanks to the efforts of Dick Celeste and his team, the U.S. Olympic Museum will be built and will be a great catalyst for development in the southwest sector of downtown and solidify our position as America's Olympic city. I also believe the improving economy and the voters' investment in city infrastructure can be a catalyst for renewal and revitalization of areas such as South Academy, South Nevada, and East Platte. While tourism is growing again and remains a significant part of our economy, there is room for considerable future growth. The competition for tourism dollars is intense, and frankly, we spend significantly less on tourism promotion than our competition. An increased investment in tourism promotion would exponentially grow our economy, and I look forward to a regional discussion in the coming year about how to expand our tourism industry in the Pikes Peak region. Well, my principal objective is to secure expansion of private sector job opportunities in Colorado Springs and reduce our overall reliance on the federal government. Please make no mistake about the fact that we as a community value, in fact, we cherish the military presence in our community. And we will do everything possible to oppose any reductions and promote expansion of that presence. And the signs are encouraging. Fort Carson fared well in the first round of troop cuts. But the Army will cut another 20,000 troops next year, and we must continue to help Fort Carson press its case. In that regard, I want to thank everyone involved in our military promotion efforts and give a specific shout out to the Regional Business Alliance and Andy Merritt in particular for helping to lead the charge on the Keep Carson Strong effort. In summary, there are encouraging signs in all aspects of the Colorado Springs economy. We need to translate that momentum into new jobs and economic opportunities for the citizens of Colorado Springs. In my remarks when I was sworn in as mayor 100 days ago, I asked all the citizens of Colorado Springs to take renewed pride in our city and look for ways to contribute to its success. And I renew that request today. Perhaps you can volunteer to help beautify our city, to improve a trail system, to pick up trash or cut weeds, to mentor our youth, to assist our sick or elderly, or to support the arts. There are unlimited opportunities to become involved in making Colorado Springs an even better place to live, work, and play. The City of Colorado Springs has the support of thousands of volunteers, and I'm grateful to all of you. I'm also grateful to the outstanding employees of the City of Colorado Springs. In my first 100 days in office, I have learned that the city is in very good hands. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you agree with my assessment that the state of our city is good and the potential for our city is great. Janet and I love Colorado Springs and are working hard to promote the city everywhere we go. Colorado Springs is full of talented people in business, government, the arts, and all endeavors of life. It's full of outdoor enthusiasts. As a city, we've got everything we need to grow and prosper. We are truly vibrant, rugged, and exceptional. If we set realistic goals and work together to achieve them, we will be successful. So let's join together to continue building a shining city at the foot of a great mountain and creating a society that matches our scenery. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. As you know, the Spirit of the Springs Awards program was created to celebrate positive achievements in our great community. One category of the Spirit of the Springs program is to recognize lifetime achievement on behalf of our city. Such an award was presented several weeks ago to former Parks Director Nancy Lewis. I have the honor today of presenting a Spirit of the Springs Lifetime Achievement Award to another visionary in our community, Mr. Harry Hoth. Harry Hoth served as a city council member from 1959 to 1967 and as mayor of Colorado Springs from 1963 to 1967. Harry served with the U.S. Marines in World War II. He became president and general manager of KRDO AM TV and grew the Pikes Peak Broadcasting Company to become a very positive voice in our community. He served on numerous boards and commissions and is the recipient of prestigious awards and honors, including the United States of America Award for Outstanding Civilian Service to the United States Army. He's been inducted into the Broadcast Pioneers of Colorado Hall of Fame, the Pikes Peak or Bust Rodeo Hall of Fame, and the Colorado Springs Sports Hall of Fame. We're now going to play a video that showcases Harry's life and highlights his contributions to the community.
We call him a man before his time.
Sincere, loyal to his friends.
If you ask his former colleagues and his friends,
Courageous and
forward.
There are so many ways
Harry was always kind of the life of the party.
to describe Harry Hope.
Never met a man that was more concerned about Colorado Springs.
Harry's commitment to the city started more than half a century ago. He attended Colorado College, served with the U.S. Marines during World War II.
Harry, being the true Marine he was, always charged forward.
He began his career at a radio station called KRDO.
The glitter and stars that you used to meet, that used to come into the microphones, the band leaders, Bob Hope, President Truman, people like this that I just come off the top of my head. We've had almost every president and every person that's been through this community has been on KRDO at one time or the other.
He persuaded the owners of KRDO to build a television station, and so began a long line of firsts. First to telecast live pictures from Pikes Peak, first to bring viewers pictures in color, and so many more.
The range ride is, this was our 66th year this year, and the range ride is a 5-day horseback ride around Pikes Peak to traditionally promote the Pikes Peaker Bus Rodeo. And Harry has been involved since the 50s. Harry started in the 50s in broadcasting and worked for KRDO, and then came through the ranks and managed KRDO and then owned KRDO. But he was really a sports enthusiast.
The hill climb started in 1916, and this is our 100th anniversary. KRDO has been a media partner with the hill climb almost since its inception.
Harry's fingerprints are on a lot of things in Colorado Springs that we can be proud of. World Arena, PRCA, the PRCA Hall of Fame, what is now Norris Penrose Event Center, the Rotary Champions Scholarship Fund. Harry was involved in the beginning of that.
Harry served our city in so many ways, including as mayor from 1963 until 1967.
I was just a young man when he was mayor. He was mayor of the city of Colorado Springs. The guy has got energy that's just unbelievable.
I could always count on Harry for really sound advice when it came to military and how we dealt with them, or what was important for our community from a military perspective as well.
Now here's what you may not know about Harry Hope.
He was a prankster, a jokester, and in the range ride camp, he was just always pulling somebody's chain.
I've known Harry Hoth for almost 60 years. I got one quick story about Harry Hoth. My parents were ranchers down south like Colorado Springs between Whitefield and Fountain. And they used to have a barn party every year, and they'd have elected officials, their friends, and all that down. Harry had been friends with my folks for quite some time, and he was known to be a practical jokester. So my folks, after having experience with him, said my job was tasked to keep an eye on Harry Hoth and make sure he didn't do anything wrong. Well, I followed him around. I was like his twin shadow. Next thing I know, Harry figured out what the deal was, and he came to me and he says, "Hey kid, here's a $5 bill and you can have it." Well, needless to say, at 7 years old, man, that was the end of the world. $5 and candy, I was gone. So the party wraps up, it's late at night, it's probably about 12:30 or so, and everybody's just getting to bed in our household. I hear this shriek come from my parents' bedroom. I go back there to see what's wrong. Harry had short-sheeted their bed and put a box of cornflakes in it. So there in the middle of the night, since I didn't keep an eye on him, I had to clean that whole mess up. So that was my first true encounter with Harry Hoth.
He made some trouble, but also helped make our city what it is today. And for all of that, those who know him well are grateful.
And we appreciate, all of Colorado Springs appreciates your promotion of the Pikes Peak region and all you've done to help our community. Thank you.
Harry, incredibly well-deserved, and thank you for your many, many years of service to this community.
We love you, and you've raised a good family, and you are a good guy.
Harry, in spite of yourself, you still got a ton of friends around that love you dearly, and we hope that you'll be with us for many more years to come. And we all owe you a great deal of gratitude for all you've done for this community and all your friends. Thanks, old buddy.
We want to be part of the community. We think you have to put something back into the community that you're working. And our job is to serve the community, and we're working in that area. We're here to make the community a better place in which to live, and that's what it's all about.
thank you for your inspiration, your passion, and your commitment. You have given your time and your talent and performed superior community service. Your work has had a profound impact on the citizens of Colorado Springs. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to present the Spirit of the Springs Lifetime Achievement Award to Mayor Harry Hoth on his 92nd birthday. Harry, congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. This is way too heavy, so I'm not going to hand it to you. I'll just put it on the table, okay? There you go. Thank you. Appreciate it very much for all you've done for Colorado Springs. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.
I think what you just saw is 50 years of inspirational leadership on full display. Harry Hoth, John Suthers, thank you.